Scrooged was released in 1988, and I had the pleasure of watching this for the first time very, very recently, and I had a great time with this movie. Bill Murray is kind of one of those actors that I think a lot of people like or love, I should say, more than I ever have. Maybe it's because I didn't get the nostalgia growing up for Bill Murray. Not to say that he's like bad or anything, or not to say that I don't like him in any films, because he always delivers top-notch performances, and he is a classic actor for sure. There's no doubt about that. I guess I just didn't grow up with the like he was never like a Jim Carrey was to me, or like I don't know, Schwarzenegger was to me. He's never been that comedic guy. But yeah, like I've always, well, not always, I've in the last 5 to 6 years heard of this film Scrooged and how much it was talked about and praised, but never really got a chance to watch it at Christmas time. Found it for like $12 and thought it would be the perfect time to view it and review it. And like I said, I had a really great time with this. Really, really intelligently made take on the Scrooge story. I did hear that this was like one of the most like popular or talked about like Jewish themed films. Like I heard people say this was like the greatest Jewish themed film next to like Eight Crazy Nights by Adam Sandler. Didn't really get too much vibes while watching it though. It just felt like a really straightforward Christmas film. But I did hear that a lot of people praise it for that. But like I said, I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. Bill Murray is awesome in it, and you have your standard Scrooge story. There's no differences in there. What they do a really great job on though is how they make the ghosts look like the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Um, the one in particular where he first meets the ghost of Christmas past, not the ghost of Christmas past, but uh, somebody who he used to work with back in the day, who like played golf and died of a heart attack, comes into his office as this crazy looking zombie thing, and the practical effects and makeup on this guy look top notch, look straight out of a horror movie. And this is not a horror movie at all, but there are scenes that are terrifying in it that look like they could literally be lifted from a horror movie and put into a comedy about Scrooge. And this guy, he comes into Bill Murray's office when he's drinking some vodka, and he starts to basically give Bill Murray's character Frank Cross uh, this warning that he's going to be visited by three ghosts and whatnot. And it's kind of a meta on itself too, because Bill Murray's character Frank already knows the Scrooge story, so the Scrooge story by Dickens exists in this universe. So he calls bullshit right away on that. But yeah, this zombified looking guy basically has a hole on the back of his head where a golf club apparently hit him, or a golf ball apparently hit him, and there's a rat that crawls out of his head, bringing the golf ball out, and then crawls right back into his head. The practical effect on that looks absolutely incredible. And then you got your first ghost of Christmas Past, who's this like really dirty looking cab driver. The Christmas present ghost is this hilarious looking fairy woman who is always like basically beating, like punching and hurting Bill Murray just over and over again, and it like plays off on this whole like satire, like slapstick kind of humor. And just the things she says and the banter that she has with him. The Christmas future ghost too, like I said, with the frightening images. I love the way they did it, where there's these screens that portray the Christmas future ghost on it, like the traditional black robe skull, you know, hook carrying guy, and then he just starts to grow and like display himself on all the screens, and then the next frame or shot is his hand coming out of the screens, but the hand is completely practical. Looked amazing. Looked really, really good. It's funny, in Bill Murray's office, or I'll call him Bill Murray, but Frank Cross's office, he literally has a quote on basically all the walls that say the definition of cross, and it says cross, and then as a definition, a thing they nail people to. I'm like, what a perfect thing to have like a Scrooge character, a modern Scrooge character, or at least modern for 1988, have on his business wall. Just portrays the character so darkly. It's funny. All the characters are great, like the side characters that come in and out of Frank's life. His girlfriend that he used to have that he had a falling out with because he was so determined and focused on his work and just didn't care about anybody else. But it's funny too how situations will happen to Frank in the same manners that Frank has done to other people will happen to him, and then how angry and pissed off he gets and how selfish he acts when things happen to him when he doesn't even realize that he's done the exact same thing to other people. I thought that they really did those things very cleverly, and then you have the situation in the third act where the ex-employee Elliot, I believe his name is, comes into the into the job with a gun, and his behavior is just so maniac like you could tell that this guy just lost it, but he does it in like it's tense, but it's done in like the comedic effects to it are really done well, and you can tell this guy's losing it, but it's hilarious to see at the same time as outside of how serious the situation is. It's still it's still laughable. And then the whole final scene where Frank Cross basically stops the entire production of the TV film that they're filming of Scrooge, and just has that whole sentimental speech where he broadcasts live on air to apologize for all his errors and stuff like that. Really sends off the heartwarming message of the entire story in a really neat and packed way. And I also forgot to mention right at the beginning of the film, I love how they open this film because Frank works for a television company, basically. He's like the head honcho. And they're pitching ideas for television films. And one of the first is this action movie that you would expect from the 80s, like from a Stallone movie, or like you have your action hero. And the film, they called it The Night the Reindeer Died. And then you have this like big honcho action hero like protecting Santa Claus, and Santa Claus has a machine gun himself, and they're all at the North Pole and they're like shooting down the bad guys like some cheesy 80s movie. Just the way they made the commercials and the pitches look so 80s. It was brilliant. It literally was a product of its time, made in its time. Really clever, like sexual puns too, like all over, all scattered throughout the film. That if you're watching it as a kid, would just fly right over your head. But as an adult, you're like, yeah, I got that. Now I didn't watch this film as a kid, so I can't really relate to not understanding the jokes in this film. But if I did watch this as a kid, yeah, they would definitely fly over my head, and it would be brilliant watching them today and understanding them as an adult. But this film was really, really well made. So glad I watched it sooner than later, and I mean, better now than never, kind of thing. And really, really good. Like, really well done for what it is. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, and man, I'm glad I own this. Like, I'm really glad I own this with a slipcover. Can't beat slipcovers. And yeah, I really recommend, if you haven't seen Scrooged, go check it out. And if you have and you love it, I know exactly why. It is an awesome film. So yeah, that's what I got on Scrooged. Had a blast with it, and might even watch it again this year. Who knows? But we shall see. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I will be back for more soon. Until next time, take care and cheers.